Hey, what's up everybody? I hope you're doing good and welcome back to my channel. You know, a question that I've been getting more and more over the past couple of years from couples that are planning their wedding is, should I hire a content creator? And there seems to be a little confusion as to what a content creator is, what they actually do on your wedding day, especially in comparison to a wedding videographer. So there seems to be a little confusion, and I kind of want to clear that up for you guys, kind of talk about what a wedding videographer does, what a content creator does, and if you should hire one versus the other, or actually hire them both if your budget permits. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if it sounds interesting to you, stick around and let's get into it. So if you're new here, my name is Jose and I am the owner of Delia Studios, which is a wedding videography company based right here in Jackson, New Jersey. We've been in business for over 10 years and I personally have shot over 500 weddings. And within that time, I've had my fair share of working alongside of content creators. So I do have some real world experience that I can share with you guys to see if hiring a content creator is going to be right for you. So if you've been on social media recently, then you probably have seen or heard of content creators. You probably have seen their work on social media. And you know, it's important to note that not only couples that are getting married have content creators at the wedding. So do wedding vendors like DJs, florists, even photographers. They hire content creators to come follow them around on your wedding day, take video and photos and turn that into some sort of social media promotion when they're done. So it's not uncommon to see multiple content creators on a wedding day. So let's talk about exactly what a content creator is, what they do, and kind of what you can expect from them on your wedding day. And the first thing that comes to mind is TikTok. Whatever is going to be trending on TikTok at the moment when it comes to wedding reels, a good content creator should be up on that. And they're probably going to want to do a couple of those with you throughout your wedding day. So that's one of the things you can expect. Another thing is, you know, content creators usually stand next to photographers and videographers throughout the wedding day. So while we're kind of setting up specific shots we want, they're usually shooting from the side. So you're going to get more of a candid, more behind the scenes, raw type feel of their content, as opposed to the more calculated photography and videography shots. And the third thing is content creators shoot vertical, as opposed to wedding videographers who shoot horizontal. And the reason why they're shooting vertical is because number one, they're usually on a phone. So they're shooting vertical on their phone. But number two, that content is meant to go right to social media. And social media, for the most part, is a vertical format. So those are some of the main things you can expect from content creators. And I think it's important to note that not all content creators do both photo and video. Some of them do offer that mix, but others just do video. And so it's very important when you're looking for a content creator to look at their packages and ask questions about it so you know exactly what you're going to get when you hire them. But one of the main reasons why couples do hire content creators is because of the speed at which they deliver your media. So content creators are known for delivering media to you within 24 to 48 hours after your wedding, which is pretty fast. So everybody's still going to be hype about your wedding. Everybody's still fresh, and it's, you know, you're receiving an email or however they send you your content, and it's going to be shareable to your social media. And there's going to be a lot of engagement. You know, let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of likes, a lot of shares, because it's still fresh in everybody's mind. So that's another selling point of content creation, is the speed at which they get you your media and the speed at which you're able to post it on your socials. And now that we talked about content creators and their role on your wedding day and what you can kind of expect from them, let's switch over to wedding videographers and talk about their role on your wedding day and kind of maybe compare the differences between them and content creators. So the role of a wedding videographer is to make a cinematic film out of your wedding day. So their priorities are going to be the composition of the shots, the lighting, the audio, and just basically really paying attention to how the story of your wedding day is playing out in real time. Wedding videographers are also responsible for filming entire parts of your wedding day and very accurately. For instance, when it comes to your ceremony, they're filming the entire thing, not just highlights or certain parts, the entire thing. And they have to worry about, again, composition, lighting, and all the multiple audio sources of anyone who's gonna be, speaking during your ceremony, like the priest, the groom, backup audio, all these kind of external audio sources. That's all part of it. And then other parts of your day as well, like, all your formalities during your reception, that's all filmed in its entirety. And it's filmed that from the perspective of composition, lighting, and audio. So that's kind of what wedding videographers are going to be focused on as opposed to the content creators. And another thing I want to mention is that most wedding videographers are still going to shoot your wedding day in a horizontal format, as opposed to a content creator that's going to be shooting mostly in a vertical format. And the reason for that, again, is because the purpose of the wedding videographer, or the job of the wedding videographer, is to create a cinematic film out of your wedding day. And films were meant to be seen on televisions in a horizontal format. Now you can watch, a wedding film on your phone, but if it's in a horizontal format, you're gonna wanna, put it on its side so you can watch it in that format. And the other thing is that, in recent years, because of social media, wedding videographers sometimes do switch between horizontal and vertical with their cameras by shifting their cameras into the vertical position because they want to make some vertical content throughout your wedding day. But for the most part, they're going to be shooting in a horizontal format. Now, not with all clips, but with some of them, you can take a horizontal clip from a wedding videographer and make it into a vertical clip. Obviously, you can't do that with every shot because like with close-ups and stuff, it won't work. But with some shots in the editing process, you can take a horizontal clip and zoom in and make it a vertical clip. So there's always that. But I think the main takeaway here is that wedding videographers are making cinematic films that are going to be horizontal. Content creators are going to be making quick content for socials that's going to be vertical. And that brings me to my next point, which is going to be the turnaround time. So with the content creation, if you remember, I said it's a very fast process, right? Because they're filming on their phone, they're editing on their phone, they're exporting right from their phone. 24 to 48 hours later, you're getting your media. Wedding videography is a completely different beast, right? So you probably have multiple cameras. So actual cameras, not phones, means way bigger files. They look more amazing, but they're way bigger. You have multiple audio sources. You might have a drone, and you have to take all these files. Then you have to bring them into an external editing program. You don't do this on your phone. You download it to a computer. You make a backup of it. Then you have to transcode the footage to make, it a lot easier to work with that footage in the program. And then you start the entire editing process, which is binning, making the story, which is editing. And then once it's, you completed the films, you're going to color correct them. You're going to color grade them. You're going to polish the audio. It's a cinematic wedding film, right? And it takes a lot of work. And as opposed to a content creator who can get your films to you within 24 to 48 hours, when it comes to wedding videography, you're talking about weeks to sometimes months before you're able to get the final deliverables. But it is worth mentioning that now in 2026, there are wedding videographers such as myself that offer, something like a same day edit where we do film on your wedding day and we show the film at your reception, which is insane. So there are options like that out there. There are videographers that will produce a teaser for you within a couple of days after your wedding as well. So those options do exist, but for the most part, wedding videography is still going to be a longer process when it comes to getting you your final deliverables, as opposed to a content creator, which was meant to be fast and it was meant to be put on social media fast. So those are the differences when it comes to the post-production part of the process. All right, so now that I broke down what a content creator does and I broke down what a wedding videographer does, let's kind of talk about that question in the beginning, which is, should you hire a videographer? Should you hire a content creator? Or maybe, should you hire both of them, right? And here's gonna be a couple of questions you should ask yourself to kind of break down, what's right for you. And the first thing is to ask yourself, do I want a cinematic wedding film of my entire day? Do I want to see my preps, my entire ceremony, all the toasts, the special dances with my, parents and all that kind of stuff? If that's something that you're interested in and you definitely want, then that's wedding videographer territory. If you're on TikTok and you want to do reels and you see some reels that you really like and you want to reproduce them on your wedding day, or you want some behind the scenes content, some candid shots, just some material that wedding videographers don't usually do. Content creators definitely do more of that stuff, and you're interested in that and social media is important to you, then you should definitely consider a content creator. Should you substitute one for the other? I don't think so. I think if you want a wedding film, you should hire a wedding videographer. I think if you want more of that BTS content, TikTok trends, reels, you should hire a content creator. You shouldn't hire a content creator and expect him to deliver a wedding film, because that's not their role. They're not going to do that, and you're going to be disappointed. And vice versa, right? A wedding videographer usually is not going to do those TikTok reels and that behind the scenes content. That's more of a content creator's territory, right? With the vertical social media stuff. So those are kind of like guidelines. And then the other question is, should you hire both of them if your budget permits? And I honestly think you should. I have no problem working with a content creator. And I think both of us, we're not in competition with each other. We each have a role to play on your wedding day. And, if we get along, it's actually a win-win for you, right? You're gonna get that cinematic wedding film that you can watch 10 years from now, and it's gonna be very cinematic and everybody's gonna be like, wow, that's amazing. And you're also gonna have that content creation 1 to 2 days after your wedding that's gonna blow everybody away, that they're seeing content from you literally the day after your wedding, right? So I think, if the budget's there, you should definitely get both of them. I don't think you should substitute one for the other. I think you kind of got to know what each of them do and make a decision of what's going to be best for you. But guys, if this video helped you at all, please feel free to share it, hit the like button, and drop some comments below on what you think about everything that I said today. And with that being said, as always, I'll see you on the next video.